Mobutu Gajaga and international and sports news headlines. Senegalese nationals in Sanyang who sought refuge fearing reprisals following a fatal stabbing have been visited by the NDMA and Red Cross officials. The Ministry of Agriculture, or the Minister of Agriculture rather, Mcfully, on Friday presided over the launching of the country's first cattle identification and tracking system in a bid to curb resource conflicts. The Supreme Court has ruled that Sirifo Sonko cannot lose his chairmanship seat because of his expulsion from UDP. And we hear about a police officer who has been showered with awards for his dedication to duty outside a school. In international news, we hear about two significant deaths in African politics: President Mcfully of Tanzania and King Zoltani of the Zulu nation. In sports news, in football, Gambia's senior Scorpions have crucial games coming up. We speak to a senior football coach to assess their chances. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you for joining us. Welcome and thank you if you're just joining us. This is QTV News and I am Mobutu Gajaga. The National Disaster Management Agency, in partnership with the Gambia Red Cross Society on Thursday, presented food items and clothing to Senegalese nationals who sought refuge in Batokunku following the killing of a man in Sanyang, allegedly by a Senegalese man. And Babukar C has the rest of that story.
According to the records, about 205 Senegalese nationals, including men, women and children, are seeking refuge at this nursery school in Batokunku, protected by the paramilitaries. Sanyang is home to many Senegalese nationals, particularly fishermen and their families. The National Disaster Management Agency, led by the Executive Director, Sana Dahaba, presented support to the Senegalese. Among the items worth $480,000 were 98 mattresses, 10 bags of sugar, 40 bags of rice, 10 drums of cooking oil and 5 bags of onions. The Gambia Red Cross Society also presented 160 blankets, buckets, bottles of liquid soap, disinfectant and clothing, among others. After the presentation, the NDMA Regional Coordinator for West Coast Region, Binta C. Jadama, says as a humanitarian institute, they needed to act fast.
We received the information last evening that over 200 people have been displaced and they are settled in a nursery school by the Batokunku community. So as part of a humanitarian organization and the National Disaster Management Agency, as part of our mandate, we felt it is necessary to take care of the internally displaced population because their situation is currently beyond their control. So, and for that being the case, today we mobilized worth of 480,400 worth of materials, foodstuff, beddings, and all other stuff. And we also gave them the assurance that within the next 10 days, we will be supporting them with some cash amount for fish money.
The leader of the displaced Senegalese citizens, Modou Ngom, thanked the NDMA and the Gambia Red Cross Society for coming to their aid. If someone just surprises you with all these items, it shows the love and care the individual has for you. All we can say or do is to pray and thank you for your kind gesture. We were sad to leave our homes and run away due to circumstances beyond our control, but with this support, you have wiped our tears and showed us that we are at home. The Executive Director of the National Disaster Management Agency, Sana Dahaba, said they will take care of the Senegalese until the authorities come up with a solution and use the opportunity to call for calm in Sanyang.
This is what we call ethical leadership. When your population is affected, you respond to their need immediately within the prescribed humanitarian principle time. I think I would really want to thank the government of the Gambia for doing that. As a humanitarian worker, what we look at is the emergency response. This is why we prioritize the food items to make sure that we respond to their need immediately. On Monday, my office is also sanctioning meeting with the stakeholders so that collectively we can look at the long-term support to the community, because we don't know yet when these people will live here. But as an emergency measure, we make sure that we provide food items to address their immediate need at the moment. Democracy does not mean the breakdown of law and order. It means the rule of law. So when such things happen, people should not take law into their own hand. We should make sure that we follow due process in terms of following the law. I think that will address the situation.
On Wednesday, the Senegalese ambassador and the governor of West Coast Region paid a visit to the school and offered encouragement and support. Babukar Si, QTV News.
Babukar Si reporting there. The Minister of Agriculture, Mcfully, on Friday presided over the launching of the
disease control mechanisms, especially transboundary animal diseases.
As we all know, livestock continues to be part of the main driving force of development in the Gambia, especially in agriculture sector. It is already a known fact that this subsector contributes significantly to enhancing food security as well as the economic upliftment of our rural people.
Dr. Mustafa Sise, Assistant FAO Representative Head of Programs, expressed optimism that the cattle tax will enhance security and establish innovative cattle tracking system.
FAO found out that in a number of countries in Eastern and Southern Africa, where they have livestock tagging systems or livestock identification systems in place, livestock-related conflicts were significantly reduced.
Dr. Abdul Sise, the Director General of the Department of Livestock Services, said the project will help address conflict over natural resources as traceability is the basis of any future system for food safety and epidemiological surveillance for animal disease control, trade and food safety. Thus, the reason for the growing demand for identification of livestock and livestock products from the point of origin to the point of consumption.
If animals are identified wherever the animal, from a distance, these animals that are tagged, you can see clearly that, there is something that tells you that this animal is owned by somebody that has put something there. So that will deter thieves, for example, from trying to steal these animals.
The president of the National Livestock Owners Association, Ibrahim Ojalo, said the ability to identify animals and to trace movement is an integral part of successful animal health programs and help livestock owners in identifying their animals for the prevention of theft through proofs of ownership, and expressed hope that the cattle tagging exercise will be extended to the entire national herds.
This tagging will definitely able to help us to make easy identification of animals and tracking of animals, especially during cattle rustling or during accidents or whatsoever happened to the animal. We'll able to know the owner of the animal in a very easy manner.
Land-related conflicts have become a growing problem and have often resulted in violence, sometimes leading to death, destruction and displacement. Land conflicts happen due to poor land governance, population increase, inadequate land policies, land tenure insecurity and pastoralism. The Gambia is no exception to these problems. Therefore, this project will complement government efforts in addressing land-related conflicts in the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
An interesting story there by Omar P. Jallo about animal tracing, how to trace animals. Now, that takes us to our next story. The Supreme Court of the Gambia today, Thursday, ruled that Sirifo Sonko cannot lose his chairmanship seat because of his expulsion from UDP, on whose ticket he was elected in 2017. And Aliou Cisse has the details.
Last year, the United Democratic Party instituted a court case against the Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, Sirifo Sonko, and two of their councillors, Bilal Fall and Mamadou Bojang, seeking an order of mandamus for the electoral body, effectively requiring the IEC to conduct by-elections. The party's argument is that the Free ceased being their members following their expulsion from the party in March 2020, and therefore the IEC is required by law to conduct elections. In expelling them, the UDP accused the Free, who were elected on a UDP ticket, of pledging allegiance to the party's political opponent, President Barrow. The expulsion was announced a few months before the Gambia's National Assembly enacted the Local Government Amendment Bill that now protects members of the local government members from losing their seats if expelled from their political parties. It now grants independence to the members of the local government from their political parties and party leaders. However, during the case hearing, Mr. Sonko had maintained he was a member of the UDP, even though he continues to express his support for what he calls the president's development agenda. Concurrently, Sirifos Sonko, chairman of the Brikama Area Council, also initiated a case against the IEC at the High Court, seeking a restraining order on the IEC from conducting a by-election for the Brikama Area Council chairmanship. Sonko argued that since 2019, members of UDP have been adamant in removing him from his position, hence the purported expulsion. Sonko said UDP is bent on interfering with his constitutional right to complete his mandate, thus urging IEC to conduct fresh elections. Justice Hadi Rose had referred the case to the Supreme Court, chaired by Justice Hassan B. Jallo, for interpretation on whether or not the case fell within the interpretation of the 1997 Constitution, as he ordered for the stay of the case at the High Court pending the decision of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's ruling means Sonko is free to serve the remainder of the 5 years to which he was elected. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
That report by Aliou Cisse takes us to our first commercial break, but still to come, we have some more local stories. Don't go away.
Join the Gambia's fastest growing network and enjoy high-speed 4G LTE. Dial *335# to subscribe to QCell's 4G LTE service. There's no need to swap your SIM. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
What is your take on this draft constitution as we stand? Butchering of the constitution.
You're trying to Maradona my state.
Agree to disagree. No.
And he betrayed
No.
Why the Third Republic?
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you for helping. Yes, it cannot be enforced.
State of Affairs, starting this Friday at 10 p.m. on QTV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is QTV News. Sexual and gender-based violence continue to significantly affect the lives of women and girls in the Gambia. Many may not be aware that there is a sexual and gender-based violence unit at the Ministry of Justice to seek justice for SGBV victims. Jennifer Sankor had a conversation with one of the state councils at the unit, and she now reports.
Sexual and other forms of gender-based violence comprise not only rape and attempted rape, but also sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, forced early marriage, domestic violence, maternal rape, trafficking, and female genital mutilation. The Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Unit of the Ministry of Justice was established as part of the transitional justice process, which is to prosecute and support victims of sexual and gender-based violence to attain justice in the legal system. State Counsel Mami Sanyang explains how they support victims.
If people come to report cases to us directly, what we do is we direct them to either the police, that is their gender and sexual violence unit, or to Department of Social Welfare, that is if they need more help in terms of support, victim support. But the problem is that most of our people are not aware of these SGBV.
Communities play an important role in shaping institutional frameworks, laws, and policies of any country. Awareness among members of the public about SGBV is significant in ensuring the rights of victims are protected. Counsel Sanyang delved into some of the reasons why there are few prosecutions in SGBV cases.
We have challenges in prosecution, and our challenges are based on various factors. And the number one factor is the lack of awareness of people, especially in terms of evidence preservation. Mostly if you have sexual or gender-based violence, people usually what they do is they destroy the evidence without knowing that they destroyed these evidence. Yes, so we would like the public to be aware of that. So that is why we are doing this. That is the public awareness, and that is the first thing we have started now. That is the thing we have started now. We want the public to be aware of certain things, factors that may hinder the prosecution of these cases.
The World Health Organization (WHO) estimates that 30% of women worldwide have experienced physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence, and 70% have experienced non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. Among ever partnered young women aged 15 to 24, prevalence of intimate partner violence is 29%. Since the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic forcing many to stay indoors, incidences of SGBV have gone up in several countries where data has been released. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
Jenna Bosonko reporting there. The female wing of the Gambia Association of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, GADO, on Saturday commemorated International Women's Day at the association's primary school in Brikama Jamisa, West Coast region. The event, the first of the participation of the Gambia's deaf women celebrating the day. And Omar Pijalo has the rest of the story.
March is regarded as the month of women. An International Women's Day commemorated on the 8th of March annually is a global day to celebrate the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women, while also making a call to action for strengthening gender equality and accelerate women's empowerment. The theme for this year's celebration is Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. It celebrates the remarkable efforts by women and girls around the globe to shape a more equitable future and the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking at the event, Madam Aissatou Sanyang, Gathod Women Development Officer, said women of the world, especially the deaf and disabled, want and deserve an equal future, free from stigma, stereotypes and violence, one that's sustainable, peaceful, with equal rights and opportunities. Adding they are part of the society and therefore should be respected. Falu Sow, the national coordinator for the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, said women and girls with disabilities are the most vulnerable people in our communities because they are mostly not captured in our national policies and programs, and asked, what have we done for women with disabilities?
This day is for women, but most especially for women who are differently able, because they are the mostly excluded people in our countries, especially the Gambia. We must remember and reflect on the past years. What have we done for persons with disability, especially women and girls with disabilities?
Lamin Fati of the Child Protection Alliance CPA said there are more than 100 public schools in the Gambia, yet there is no specific public school for persons with disabilities, as the few we have are either sponsored or instituted by international donor organizations. He adds that persons with disabilities, especially children, have been marginalized and discriminated against, citing a lack of facility or infrastructure in the country catering for persons with disabilities.
It's a known fact that the Gambia has ratified the Convention on the Right of Persons with Disability since 2013. Equally, the Gambia has ratified the UNCRC, the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, in 1990. The Gambia has equally ratified the African Charter on the Right and Welfare of the Child in 2000.
Fatu A. Kamara from the Gambia Red Cross Society spoke at length on some of the steps they have taken in supporting women and girls, especially those with disabilities, since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Recently, since the outbreak of COVID-19, the Gambia Red Cross have been in the forefront providing humanitarian assistance to Gambians and responding to their needs. GSS have installed hand washing facilities at different strategic locations, provided sanitary kits, distributed face masks, and supported families in strengthening their livelihoods by giving them cash and food.
The day-long event began with a march past from the Birkama police station to the school ground with the theme #ChooseToChallenge. Other speakers include Aminata Jaite from the Girls Agenda, Amadou Touré, the president of GATHO, and Karamo Sanyan, the school's head teacher. The Gambia Association for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing GATHO female wing was established in 1990 by a group of deaf women of varying ages in the Gambia as a non-governmental organization to advocate for the rights of the deaf and hard of hearing women and girls. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Many schools have to deploy police officers to ensure traffic slows down or stops at zebra crossings outside our schools. Sergeant Suleiman Kamara, a traffic police officer, has been presented with an award by staff and students of Mindao Upper and Senior Secondary School for his excellent service in helping students at a zebra crossing in front of the school. Lamin Dabo has the rest of the story.
This award ceremony was initiated by the students of Mindao Upper and Senior Secondary School with support from the staff and school management committee. Sergeant Kamara's award is for his hard work, dedication and tireless efforts, sometimes standing under the scorching sun and the pouring rain to control traffic for the safety of students and other passers-by. Mr. American Mendy, the school's principal, expressed sincere thanks and appreciation to the students for coming up with the initiative. He commended Sergeant Kamara for his selfless service. The school's head boy, Adam Asane, explains the motivation behind the initiative.
It started when I talked to some of the counselors and also the principal and other students that recognized the job he was doing and he is still doing, that why not we come up with something, an initiative that will at least we can show a token of appreciation to him. So that was when we started informing students and going around classes in order to for them to donate whatever they have, either in cash or kind. Yeah. So when that happened, students started contributing, and also we didn't stop just to the students, because we discussed the matter with the principal. He also talked to some of the teachers. I can say all the teachers, so that they can contribute a certain amount, and that is why they bought all these things in order to show some appreciation and also give him a certificate that will be a source of remembrance to him.
The Commissioner of Mobile Traffic Police, Lamin Kinkoli, says it is everyone's collective responsibility to contribute to the safety of our roads, which can help combat frequent road accidents.
As far as I am the Commissioner, the sky shall be the limit. There is a saying in English, to whom much is given, much is expected. If you do the job to the expectation of the people that you are serving, as long as you are working under me as Commissioner of Mobile Traffic, the sky shall be the limit for your promotion.
The recipient of the award, Sergeant Suleiman Kamara, has this to say.
As a police officer, it is expected from you to save life and property. I'm motivated to do this to the Gambians because it's my responsibility to serve the Gambian people. I want to also urge my colleagues for them to also try their level best. I know they are trying, but let them try to double up and then do their best to try to serve the Gambia as expected. Alhamdulillah, I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making this day possible for me.
Sergeant Suleiman Kamara received a new 44-inch flat-screen TV, 2 pairs of shoes, a certificate of appreciation, $500 from the Alcalo of Farato, and $1,000 for transporting the items home. Road safety remains a major concern in the Gambia as there continue to be frequent road accidents. The award to Sergeant Kamara is a manifestation of the work many of our gallant police officers render to protect life and property. Long may he and they continue to do so. For QTV News, Lamin Alai Fandindawo.
Huge congratulations to Sergeant Kamara there, who has been recognized for the dedication to his work. And that takes us to our next commercial break. But still to come, we have international and an interesting sports news story. Don't go away, stay tuned.
Buy your QCell credit using your QMoney account without any hassle. Cash in any amount starting from $10 and enjoy the amazing services QMoney has to offer. With QMoney, life is easy. Visit your nearest QMoney agent to cash in or call customer care on 133. Don't forget to wash your hands with soap after handling cash. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. And now to international news. Sad news, Tanzania's President John Magufuli has died aged 61 from heart disease. The country's Vice President Samia Hassan Suluhu announced late on Wednesday on state television. The Vice President is set to be sworn in as President for the unexpired period of Magufuli's 5-year term, which would make her the country's first female president and the only female currently holding executive power in East Africa. More in this report.
Tanzania has declared 14 days national mourning and flags would fly at half-mast, according to the Vice President. She said burial arrangements were underway for the 61-year-old leader, but did not indicate when she would be sworn in. Once that happens, she will register another first. Africa's first female Muslim political head of state. Ethiopia has a female president in what is a largely ceremonial role. On Thursday morning, people reacted with grief and disbelief as they stood on street corners in the downtown area of Dar es Salaam, the country's biggest city, reading newspapers and weeping, a Reuters witness said. One person interviewed said Mr. Mcfully was a caring leader, adding he was helping people in one way or another. I am really pained. I am personally pained, he said. Condolences have been pouring in from African leaders. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta said, I have lost a friend, colleague and visionary ally, and declared a 7-day period of national mourning in Kenya. Former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan called Mr. Magufuli a partner in democracy and a patriot who loved his country. However, Tundu Lissu, Magufuli's main rival in the October election, when the president won a second 5-year term, said it was time for the country to open a new chapter. He told the BBC that Mr. Magufuli's policies and COVID denialism had driven the country towards disaster. Mr. Magufuli's death has been blamed on heart problems, but many will still suspect that he succumbed to COVID-19. He had not been seen in public for more than 2 weeks before his death, and rumors had been circulating about his health. Opposition politicians said last week that he had contracted COVID-19, but Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa insisted that the president was healthy and working hard. He blamed the rumors of the president's ill health on hateful Tanzanians living abroad. A week ago, 4 people were arrested and charged for reporting that the president was ill. Nicknamed the bulldozer because of his reputation for pushing through policies despite opposition, Magufuli had won many supporters at home but drew international criticism for his unorthodox style. He was one of Africa's most prominent coronavirus skeptics and called for prayers and herbal-infused steam therapy to counter the virus. But the growing number of illnesses and deaths across the country, observed by residents and doctors, provided ammunition to opposition politicians who condemned his government's stance for endangering lives. Magufuli appealed to many because he was unencumbered by institutional limits, according to analysts. He was delivering what most Tanzanians cared about, and his populist governing style was effective and a model for other African leaders, his fans argue. To his critics, however, his governing style was unbearably abrasive, and he muzzled Tanzanian media, shutting down several newspapers, radio and TV stations, as well as social media platforms, simply for reporting what the government didn't like. Many of his harshest critics now live in exile. Arguably, the question now for Tanzanians is whether his successor should stay the course or change. Born in 1960 in the Sultanate of Zanzibar, Samia Hassan Suluhu became the country's first female vice president upon Magufuli's election in 2015. And experts say that according to the constitution, she should be sworn in within 24 hours of a presidential vacancy. Political legacies mostly take time before they take shape, so the legacy debate would rumble on for a while. But as Kenyan journalist Dickens Olewe has observed, reporting for BBC News, it is an irony that the pandemic he so strenuously denied has outlasted him, turning his once heralded presidency into a cautionary tale for the region and the continent. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbouch.
South Africa's Zulu's longest-serving king died last week at the age of 72 from diabetes-related condition. Goodwill Zuluwaltini, a man known as Straight Talker, was bid farewell by thousands of people, mostly from Zulu ethnic group. More in this report.
Known as the longest-serving king after reigning over 5 decades, King Goodwill Zwelithini was laid to rest in his hometown in KwaZulu-Natal. Throughout his reign, he was known as a strong advocate for preserving cultural identity, fighting HIV and AIDS and gender-based violence. The King of Zulu was named the successor in 1968 at the age of 20. However, he was not crowned until 1971 after going into hiding after receiving death threats. He ruled a Zulu nation of 11 million, about 18% of South Africa's population. A day before his burial, Zulu mourners paid tribute to their late leader, wearing traditional leopard skin, dancing and parading as they accompanied his body to the royal palace. Early on Thursday, King Zwelithini was buried according to local media reports, and President Ramaphosa paid tribute saying, "The king is not dead, because kings don't die. Their spirits live with us." During apartheid, King Zwelithini was not well known, but his uncle Chief Buthelezi used him and Zulu nationalism to strengthen his political position. King Zwelithini helped to bring the Zulu nation into the new political system by pursuing Chief Buthelezi and his party to take part in South Africa's first democratic elections in 1994. King Zwelithini married 6 wives and had 28 children. Many Zulus are now awaiting the successor to the throne, which remains to be verified. Traditionally, the king's eldest son to the first wife should take over. Unfortunately, his son Prince Letukutula Zulu was killed at age 50 last November. 5 people are standing trial for his murder. Historian and cultural analyst Tuli Pikita said that while the palace has a very intricate way of picking the successor, its inner circle should know already who the next king will be. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Ajibintu Drame reports there. And now we are going to get into sports news. In sports news, is football that we're going to talk about. The senior Scorpions return to action next week in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifying. My colleague Aliou Cisse joins me in the studio to take us through. Aliou, back to you.
Thank you very much, Gach. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Well, it is exactly a week before the senior Scorpions of the Gambia will return to action for the 2 remaining but crucial matches in the ongoing AFCON qualifiers. Coach Thompson Fate has invited a provisional list of 50 players and is expected to unveil his final squad on Friday, tomorrow. The Gambia will first play at home to Angola next Thursday, 25th of this month, before flying for the final game to DR Congo on the 29th of this month. Well, I am happily joined by Alhaji Silla, a former under-20, under-23, and senior national team coach. Silla had also served as chairman of a nomination committee appointed by FIFA in 2014. He is currently a CAF and FIFA instructor. Well, coach, thank you so much for joining us. Coach. Hello, coach. Are you getting? Coach. Hello, coach. Coach. Well, coach. If well, like I said, it is the upcoming qualifiers in the AFCON qualification. The Gambia will play their first home game against Angola next Thursday, that's 25th of this month, before flying out to DR Congo for a crucial game. Actually, it seems the Gambia is on the course to qualifying for its maiden African Cup of Nations qualification. Well, coach, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. Coach, to start with, as I said, it appears the Gambia is on course for its maiden qualification to the AFCON. The Gambia currently tops Group D, with 7 points, followed by Gabon also with 7 points, with the side separated by a goal. We have DR Congo in third place with 6 points, and Angola at the bottom with 1 point. How do you analyze the performance of the boys so far in these qualifiers, Coach?
Thank you very much, Ali, for having me. It is a very crucial group, and going by it mathematically, all the 4 teams could qualify.
How will you analyze the performance of the boys in the games played so far? Coach, you can just listen.
We are performing because
you don't have to listen to the TV. Just listen to your mobile, Coach, if you're getting me.
All right. Okay.
You can go ahead.
Okay.
How do you analyze the performance of the boys so far?
Good. If you look at the group, going by the standing, if you look at the ranking, we are the lowest ranked country as far as the FIFA rankings are concerned. So now, if we are now on top of the group with 2 matches to go, then I think we have performed exceptionally well.
But if you were the coach of the senior team as we speak, how will you approach these 2 remaining crucial games?
Yeah. Well, we have to understand one thing, Ali, that this is the biggest game we have ever prepared in the life of this country. Because we have never reached this stage in the history of our football. So there must have been something good that we've been doing, which has to be sustained. And then we also look at the challenges that we have gone through to make sure that they are solved before this game. Now, it is an important game of which, if we win this game, history has been made already, but we can further consolidate it by qualifying earlier than usual. Because if we win and then Gabon wins, then we have qualified before the end of the group. So the approach is very simple. We shouldn't be complacent. We cannot afford to be complacent because of the achievement so far. What we should do, let us forget about our last match. Let's give all our focus, energy, concentration, preparation on the next match. That's the most essential thing. So the approach is we have a responsibility to make sure we look at Angola crucially, because for them being at the end of the group, let's not forget that there still is
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach. It seems we're running out of time. That's a former under-20, under-23, and senior national team coach who is currently a CAF and FIFA instructor, Coach Alaji Silvia, speaking to us about the upcoming games as far as qualifiers is concerned. Well, Gajaga, back to you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Ali Cisse, for sports, and that's all we have for you in tonight's news edition. And thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.